Grenades have long since been the ugly stepchild of the throwables. Under the initial vision of Skills 1.0, they had none of the utility of smokes, shocks, or flashes, and weren't even particularly useful in edge case DPS situations, like with the throwing knife. Instead, it required an entirely impractical grit generator skill that often saw you vaulting back and forth over objects and switching between weapons just to avoid blowing yourself to Kingdom Come in the process. As of Skills 2.0, the blowing yourself to Kingdom Come part of the playstyle is pretty much built in. We just need to find a way to mitigate that as much as possible, but in exchange, you can expect to nuke virtually everything else on the map in the process. This explosive build might be one of the highest DPS options in the entire game, clearing entire spawn groups at the flick of your wrist, with no need to worry about trivial things such as, I don't know, having to aim or something. It's one of the most ridiculous but also fun and chaotic builds in the entire game, well worth playing not only for meta viability, but also to witness sights such as these. Welcome back to my inaugural Skills 2.0 build extravaganza. I hope you're still enjoying it as much as I am making it, so sit back, relax, and get ready to learn the way of Payday 3's new tactical nuke playstyle. If we look at it in isolation, I think frag grenades might be one of, if not the most powerful individual builds. I'm just talking raw damage output. These things hit incredibly hard in a massive radius. You will rack up some serious kill numbers. However, it has some pretty straightforward and clear drawbacks that we're going to do our very best to mitigate with this build. But when it comes to actually building the grenade itself, that's fairly straightforward. We want to ace out everything in the tree. We want more grenades, we want those grenades to explode on impact, we want them to do as much damage as possible in as wide a radius as possible, and we don't care if we hit ourselves. Sadly, that's just going to be a fact of life in this build. There's going to be a little friendly fire. Mad Bomb is one of the best skills. It's going to allow us to actually replenish those grenades passively as long as the luck is in our favour. With Scavenger added on top of that, most of the time we're actually going to be able to keep our hands off the ammo bag and save that really for key situations where we need some more damage in our primary weapon. Sudden Impact is also a skill to keep in mind. If you can land direct hits with your grenades, they will do more damage. It's not a major priority, bearing in mind you want to generally get behind cover as soon as you throw that grenade or you will be blowing yourself up. But it's something to think about if you're really worried about not doing quite enough damage to individual targets like shields. The nice thing though about committing so hard in the soldier tree here with Grenadier is it also gives us immediate access to two of the best trees in the game in Juggernaut and Commando. So we can do things like pick up Rifleman, Stockpile and Ammo Funnel, all of which are really nice skills for our LMG primary, and put us to the exact amount of penetration we're going to need for this build to hit. We also can ace out Bastion. This is going to future-proof this build, bearing in mind, even when they change it, so the Zapper and Cloaker element is on the aced part, we'll still have access to that. But this build does have a little bit of an issue against dozers, so I think being able to run up to them and bait the kick feels really nice, hence why we ace it out even now. Beast of Burden basic, just one of the best skills in the game. And I'd also, since I'm already committing a little bit in this tree, I feel I might as well go Extra Protection Headguard here. This is just going to give us, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. It's another 5% DR at all times in our setup, which is nice because we don't have a great deal in the build. We will be running impact plates, which don't bring any. As you might notice, we have 14 points remaining. That is the perfect number because it allows us to pick up every single skill in the ammo tree without even having to look back. Now, this is one of the weaker trees in the game, but ammo supplements the grenades so nicely. If luck is not on your side and you do run out quite quickly, you're going to have multiple bags worth of these things to pick back up. Utility Belt is going to increase your total capacity. Munitions Expert is going to increase how many you get when you drop and make use of the bags. Ammo Up is going to increase the amount of ammo and number of times we can make use of them. Basically, you're never going to run out of grenades with this build. You'd have to be on a heist for over an hour for that to be the case, in my opinion. Bullet Frenzy is where things get really interesting because every usage of the bag is now going to give the next mag, both your weapons, primary and secondary, more damage, and then Premium Bag aced out is going to give it even more pen. This is key, and it's the reason why we're running an LMG for much of this gameplay, because it allows the LMG to actually do significant damage and break penetration values of 4. So regular SWATs will get one shot by LMGs. Unheard of, really powerful. For lots of the gameplay, I'm actually running a slightly different variation with the Northwest, which I have specialized to break the 5 breakpoint. In that case, the Northwest can one-shot heavy SWATs, which feels really nice.
but it's a little bit too temporary, and because Ammo Funnel doesn't work alongside Premium Bag, which sucks by the way, I think it should, but because it doesn't, to get the most out of Premium Bag, you might as well use a weapon that has a particularly large mag capacity, like the Blyspruter, the LMG. This is the wrong secondary, I just realised I'm running the Deagle. I run the Picchioduro for a similar reason. This thing has 30 shots in a mag, that's pretty significant. And also, this thing can one burst when you have Premium Bag active, making it really quite powerful as a sidearm option. Although most of your damage, let's be honest, is going to be done with the Frag Grenade Ammo Bag combo. Trip Laser, I always like to run one of these, I feel like it is the best tool. And the Red Fox, again, I've already mentioned, the build can have issues with bulldozers. Sadly, grenades do not deal with them. You can also run the Mark and Mamba if you're feeling a little spicy. The Mark and Mamba doesn't seem to be benefiting from frag grenade skills the same as it used to with the direct explosion, but thematically it certainly works, and I like the way this can help you run through cover. Bearing in mind we actually have Bastion aced, maybe I will run the Mark and Mamba more often than not, but the Red Fox is always an option in your back pocket. Finally, it has to be the Mercenary frame. We need as much armor as possible because we do not have any to resupply with, and it's going to be with impact plates, like I mentioned on the Sentry build. These things are really powerful now because they're going to give you 2 seconds of immunity every single time they break, making it much easier to actually replenish them for the 12 seconds you need to wait. The build can have moments where you're caught out completely armorless and will go down. It's just a fact of life. This frame is not ineffable, but it is incredibly powerful. Every time you recharge it back to full, that's another 8 seconds of a damage immunity you can pretty much count on so long as it doesn't get sniped away. Snipers will be a big issue with this build, by the way. Keep that in mind. They can one-shot your whole impact armor mercenary frame. Unlike the resistant plates, we just don't have enough DR otherwise. But if we can avoid them, we can get away with a hell of a lot with this build. Running, blowing up our own feet, and using those 2 seconds of immunity tactically to avoid the afterblasts. Such a fun build to play around with, pretty close to the meta despite being genuinely quite ridiculous and involve throwing frag grenades at the floor. I think this might be my favourite build to play, so let's get into the gameplay and I can show you why. If there's one thing you won't be lacking in this setup, it's damage. You effectively have so much at your fingertips, the only risk is being caught out armorless and so unable to protect yourself from splash damage. Snipers and dozers will also cause you a few problems from time to time, but with all the ammo buffs and actual access to the CC immunity from Bastion, you'll be able to tank up dozers far better than you might initially expect. Just keep a close eye on your health pool. Having just one down and taking chip damage from cloakers, even if we can throw them off instantly, makes it possible to go into custody without the cops actually breaking through your armor. A few FAKs will usually do the job, but it certainly bears mentioning as another slight weakness of the setup. Speaking of armor, as most of you know by now, the Mercenary Frame passive, the 2 seconds of damage immunity upon a plate breaking, is currently bugged, instead being shared across all armor types, meaning you could probably get away with the 1 plate frame right now if you really wanted to. When that's fixed, you will need to return to this 4 plate setup though, and that should really be a priority for Starbreeze as it's one of the things totally breaking 1 plate builds right now, bearing in mind it leaves you with just an effective 1 second recharge timer on your impact plates. Weapon-wise, I do like the idea of combining high-capacity weapons with the ammo bag buffs. It's thematically cool and works well enough, but there's always the possibility of switching over to a shotgun primary to better deal with dozers, bearing in mind all the other foot soldiers should be getting decimated by your grenades. Keep that in mind with your personalised setup. You could also consider dropping ammo bags altogether. The maths of Mad Bomber and Scavenger is so heavily in your favour, it's totally possible to replenish a smaller pool of grenades just by getting reasonably lucky and rolling those 5% Scavenger pickups. For anyone interested in probability, the odds of at least one of the frag restoring effects occurring on each throw is 39.25%. Additionally, say that single throw picks up 3 kills, those ammo boxes they drop have just over 14% to regenerate at least 1 grenade. In other words, if you're hitting large enough groups of cops, you'll have a greater than 50-50 odds to get your grenade back with every throw. There is one obvious downside of this build though, that's the visual disturbances that seem to come for free alongside it. For whatever reason, the game's lighting seems to go haywire when struck with a number of consecutive explosions, leading to some not so pleasant bright flashes, and even a bloody Mad World filter when combined with the First World Bank lighting effects. This is fairly unavoidable, I'm afraid, especially bearing in mind how much of the bloody map these cluster nades now take up. If you can get past that and the slightly abnormal gimmicky playstyle you have to adapt to in this build, you're sure to have a hell of a lot of fun and success even on overkill, which is more than I can say for those awkward frag builds of old.
Give it a go and tell me how it feels to play. I'm a huge fan of the relative build variety we have now, and this is a real standout in terms of offering something totally different to the player now Skills 2.0 has been implemented. Hope you're still enjoying the frequency of these builds. Remember to drop your own ideas and tweaks in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you all later this week. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.